that new Godzilla movie coming out, Godzilla Minus One, I got to thinking of other giant monster movies and remembered these two. But they aren't from Japan. No, we're talking about British Kaiju. Believe it or not, they were a thing. Giant radioactive monsters stomping on Tokyo? Well, okay. But stomping on Soho? Crushing Covent Gardens? Charring Charing Cross? Bashing Big Ben and blasting Baker Street? Pouncing on Piccadilly, Parliament, and Pall Mall? Leveling London and tinkling into the Thames? What's going on? Hey friends, this time we're taking a look at a movie pair from across the pond, which feature British Kaiju. Big old dinosaurs wreaking havoc on England. On the face of it, sure. It seems really odd to have Kaiju in the UK, but the monsters come from the sea, lending them an air of mystery and menace. And, like Japan, Britain is an island nation, and the sea is a big part of their history and life there in general. So it kinda works. Doctor Who met up with giant monsters at least twice, first with the third Doctor, John Pertwee, facing actual dinosaurs that had been teleported through time to London. And then Tom Baker, the fourth Doctor, faced off against Nessie, the Loch Ness Monster, who was being controlled by aliens to smash oil rigs. But before then, there were these two cinematic monster outings. First up, we have the Giant Behemoth from 1959. This one starts out in classic monster movie manner, with a mystery. In and around a small fishing village, a fisherman is found on the beach with nasty burns. Then other people and fish suddenly start dying and no one knows why. Turns out, you guessed it, it's the work of a radioactive dinosaur. This here dinosaur is apparently a victim of nuclear testing in the ocean. The behemoth has been sleeping for millions of years and has been awakened by the atomic bomb tests after being irradiated by radiation. It definitely got up on the wrong side of the bed and starts destroying stuff. Anyway, the monster is soon found out, and intrepid American scientist Steve Carnes, no relation to Kim, works with the British authorities to try and find a way to stop the behemoth's radioactive rampage in good old London town. Gene Evans plays Carnes, and a fellow scientist is played by Andre Morell. This was directed by Eugène Lourié, the same guy who helmed The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms in 1953. That was his first directing job. Here, he insisted they play down the romance angle with the fisherman's daughter and instead play up the scientific investigation. That helps to add to the quality here, I think. While he only directed some 9 films, he was very active as an art director for television series and films. The monster here is kind of interesting in that he isn't just radioactive. He seems to be able to project radiation at different strengths, depending on the occasion, as a defense mechanism. Next up, we have Gorgo from 1961. This movie, it turns out, was also directed by Eugène Lourié. Although British, this being a kaiju movie, it premiered in Japan 9 days before it was seen in Britain. In this one, some salvage men just happened to visit an Irish island where divers are being killed by a monster, which soon reveals itself. Gorgo, so named because, like the Gorgon of Greek myth, it's scary, is eventually captured by our heroes. Now there's a stupid, annoying kid on the island who tags along and joins them. But this dopey kid, in dopey kid fashion, even tries to free the monster at one point. Anyway, Greed gets the better of the pair of salvage men, and they sell out to a London circus to put Gorgo on exhibition. But wait, there's more! Turns out Gorgo, at 65 feet tall, is just a baby, and Mama is still out there and ready to do some stomping. William Sylvester plays one of the salvage men. He was arguably most famous for playing Dr. Haywood Floyd in 2001, and an uncredited Ed Bishop appears as a radio operator. Bishop is best known for his work with Jerry Anderson on UFO, or UFO, and voicing Captain Blue in the Captain Scarlet Super Marionation series. Bishop was also in 2001. He was the pilot of the Ares shuttle that brings Floyd to the Clavius moon base. Gorgo itself is much more of a straightforward kaiju-type monster. He's not so much a regular-looking dinosaur like the Behemoth. Gorgo stands upright, walking around to stomp on stuff like Godzilla does. After reshoots and other post-production tinkering, adjusting for inflation, Gorgo cost as much as King Kong did in 1933. Ultimately, Gorgo was nominated for an Oscar for special effects. It lost. Gotta say, I didn't care for this one as much. The monster suit is not convincing, but they did build a giant Gorgo for actors to interact with, so you get some sense of scale. This movie is pretty much King Kong. Giant monster is captured and put on exhibition for money because greed. Kills some people in the process, then the monster escapes and stomps on stuff, causing havoc and all of that. So, yeah, King Kong. The kid is annoying. Really annoying. Okay, sure. Most kids in these kind of movies are, but this kid is completely superfluous to events, and they could have easily dispensed with him, and the picture would have been better for it. Especially if Gorgo stomped on him in the early going. Gene Simmons from Kiss is reportedly a big fan of this movie, but of the two, I thought the Giant Behemoth was by far the better film. Gorgo kind of comes off as a bit been there, done that. Plus, it has that stupid kid in it. Behemoth is more serious and thus more interesting. Gorgo is in color and it does have a good sense of scale with the monster, so I'll give it that. But to me, the Giant Behemoth was ultimately most rewarding. I watched the Behemoth first and then Gorgo. That may be the best way to see these. Hey, if you like this video, how's about throwing a dog a bone and give me a like? That helps to trick the algorithm into thinking I make good content. Or subscribe for more Barky Dog action. So far as action goes, I mean, that's a relative term there. This is pretty much it. Anyway, you take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.